So Tony.
Oh, hello, Jordan. I've just
what are you making
been
there?
working with my hand tools. It's putting together a chair with these mortise and tenon joints. See, nice snug fit.
Okay, so the Amish thing. Okay, first, I completely made that graphic without Tony knowing that I was making that graphic, because I was thinking, okay, what's the shtick for tonight? What are we doing that's fun? And and I was like, okay, well, I don't really have much to point at. Like we do have a good show, but there's no, big demo like we've had with Chris Greer or Darren O'Connor coming on to talk about what he's like. We didn't have any like, this is the thing you need to come watch. And I'm like, what's been funny lately? And the first thing that hit me was not only the beard, but then the Amish hat you dropped on me by complete surprise the other day. And I thought that was hilarious. And so I figured it was time to pull it out. And I created the graphic. And before I put it out there in the world, I asked Tony, I'm like, hey, you okay with this? I don't want to embarrass you or anything. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. So then here we are. And then without telling Tony for the tweet, I was like, I've got to like do a refrain on Amish Paradise. Obviously, which is a parody. It was a parody on Gangster's Paradise, right? And I'm like, I've got to go do something like, because that will be fun. And so I went out and I did that, and Tony had no idea I was doing that. And this is what Tony says to me. I have to go find exactly what you said in the Slack. He says, I'm not to be outdone though. And I'm like, I can't wait to see what that means. What does that mean? I can't wait to, or I'm not to be outdone. And so Tony, you kind of set me up, because you told me that the surprise was ruined. You joined to the stream tonight and you're like, oh, you saw my surprise. And it was being decked out, not the hat you had the other night, another hat. You got the suspenders. You're looking good. You're looking like you belong on the farm. Looks like you're going to leave here to go raise a barn with all of your besties and have some fun.
Yeah. I'm real tired. I've been up since 4 a.m. out there in pasture.
Exactly.
Getting fresh milk, churning butter.
No, what's awesome is I actually live like around Amish country. I drive 10 minutes that way and I'm in Amish country. And you live in the Metro DC area. So if there's anybody who should have the clothing to fit in, it should be me.
Now, however, I didn't always live where I'm at now. And for a while when I was a child, I lived in Southern Maryland, St. Mary's County, the most southern county of Maryland. And down there is an Amish community. And there's a local grocery store down there. So what's up to all my Southern Maryland folks? There's a local grocery store down there called McKay's. It is not a chain. It is a family-owned, been there as long as, I don't know. And ever since I was a little kid, when you go there, they have a parking lot out front, as every grocery store does. And off to the side of the parking lot are these 3 parking spaces with what looks like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 round wooden pilings with almost like a telephone pole horizontally resting on those 4 pilings.
For the horses.
For the horses, for the Amish horse and buggy. Exactly. Because they live down there as a community, and they wouldn't go to the grocery store for everything. And I didn't like socialize with them, but you would see them from time to time. And I remember seeing Amish people in the grocery store, and it was the entire family. So a mom, a dad, and a bunch of kids all spread out through the ages, and a bunch of kids, and each one had an entire cart filled to the brim with like, do you remember like, I don't know, like I was picked on, for being poor. You didn't have like the name brand cereal. You had like the cereal that came in like the bag. In the bags. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what they would have like an entire cart or something like that rather than Cheerios. Exactly. So they would have an entire cart filled with like those kind of bags, but not just of cereal, but of like raw grain. It would be like 7 50-pound bags of like corn oats, or really? Rolled oats, or like simple things, like flour, oats, like sugar. Like they would have like just like basic things. They didn't buy like cheese and milk and stuff like that. They bought like basic stuff, and each cart was full. And they had like a whole train of them. The whole family had their own cart, and it was just pretty wild. I mean, so I do remember being around some Amish people down in Southern Maryland. There's a little community, but yeah, this whole thing, I just threw it together one day.
This is what you wear to work.
So actually, you want to know what? Actually, I do wear this to work. Okay. Back when I used to teach a class, I wore this shirt, these suspenders, nice slacks, shoes, and everything. And I didn't wear this hat. This is an add-on piece. But what's funny is what you don't see off camera is like I'm wearing these suspenders. Are on basketball shorts.
Yes,
I'm wearing basketball shorts.
I knew it.
In fact, not even all the buttons in this shirt are done. Yeah. It's open at the bottom. So I got just enough that was going to be on camera just for this little shtick. And yeah, when you look good, you feel good. So
nice.
I'm happy.
Very, very, very nice.
And these are actually real wooden parts to a wooden chair.
I believe
that I've made. There,
you do stream templates from the workshop, so that doesn't. As soon as I saw the saw, I'm like, why did I not think that was what was going to happen? It was the obvious next step to this.
What I wish I had one of those overhead cams like you do before, like pre-stream,
right?
And of me like running a hand plane down down a log.
Oh, that would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. We could make that happen. Just saying.
I know. Yeah, next time we'll keep the costumes in rotation. We'll see what we come up with.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh man. So one note for those who are watching, we got a few people in and more people kind of coming in as we're getting started here. We're trying something new today. We decided this about 10 minutes ago, and so we've been streaming in 720, which has been okay. But with the idea of like, let's not bite off more than we can chew from a bandwidth perspective. Let's make sure that we don't overdo, processing and all that other stuff, handling a lot of feeds, a lot of graphics, a lot of whatever. Everything seems to be going incredibly smoothly. So we've got to push the boundary a little bit and see, and see how far we can take it. So tonight, coming to you in fancy, true full HD at 1080p. So next week, maybe 4K. We'll see how it goes.
My gosh.
I say that just to say that, if things go sideways, it's not fully unexpected, and we'll just kill the stream and come back at 720. So please bear with us if it does, just completely fall over as we do this live for the first time. Tony will have to put on pants when there's an overhead camera. See, no, that's the fun part of the joke, is the fact that he won't. Well, please wear some form of pants, but you can still wear the basketball shorts.
No, I wear one of those woodworkers. They have like a leather apron. You know what I mean? So you don't get stabbed with the sharp chisels. No, but when I take off the leather apron, you get to see I'm just wearing a shirt. I wasn't wearing pants to begin with.
Nothing at all, huh? Oh boy. Oh boy. So Amish network architect aside, Mr. Amish CCIE number 1.
That's right. First of his kind.
Yeah. So Kevin Myers asked me what the like how many Amish network architects are there, and I'm like, well, if there's more than one, I'll be surprised.
There used to be a joke that I used to tell when I was out doing construction work, and people would ask me, how'd you learn how to do this? I was like, I always loved trying new things. It was my dad who drove me to it. He was an Amish electrician. And it always like gave people pause. They were like, huh? Wait, what? What? Uh-huh. Nice. They just didn't know, they're like, is he joking? Yeah, it's just a joke.
Nice. So how are things otherwise?
Who said this? I was just picking up on a tweet right now.
Oh, okay.
From Maximilian Francis at EAPLOL. I hear all Amish networks are incredibly secure because everyone is air-gapped. Can you confirm?
Can you confirm?
I'll wait 6 to 8 weeks for my response via an avian air cap, encapsulation.
Nice.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been good. I've been good. You know, this week has been a week that's different than the norm. Had to take my kid to the hospital on Monday. Not an emergency thing, but he had a scheduled surgery, something that we live with as a family. So being 10 years old and having gone through that a number of times throughout his life, you become a little bit desensitized to it, but it's never normal.
No.
You know, and this time, because he's 10, he's a lot more active. It's not like he was a little kid, you know, where he wasn't doing anything socially, so it didn't really affect him. Now he has to actually like sit in a chair. He's not allowed to like play ball. He can't go outside, can't jump on the trampoline, can't be on his computer, can't do school. So he's just catching up on anime, you know, on Crunchyroll, on the Roku, and we're just catering to his every need. But other than that, it's been a pretty light work week so far. And on Friday, I'll be getting my vaccine number 2. And so I'm excited about that to sort of to get that done, get that out of the way. And, you know, even though if it doesn't actually change anything for us, it at least changes our mental state, our mental view of how we view the future for ourselves and our family. You know what I mean? So even if it doesn't mean we're going to go out and start licking door handles right away, it means
you're not supposed to go out and lick door handles.
Well, I was planning on it, but my wife said no,
because that's what I've been looking forward to.
I mean, they wanted to put this vaccine to the test, so I was going to push it, you know, through its paces.
Yeah.
But
listen, those trials were nothing.
Even if it doesn't. Even if it doesn't mean we don't head out and start licking door handles right away, it at least means, you know, we have the sight in the future to start becoming normal again in our own way.
I just got the image of your entire family, because you said we as like a collective, that you as your family like made an event of going out and licking door handles.
We do it at night, so we don't want to look like freaks around here, so we do it at night. So hi neighbors, if you're watching this. We do it at night. So yeah, we just pick a random neighbor's house, and just we all lick the door handle. I'm totally kidding. That's absolutely gross. I didn't mean to turn everybody off, but I just went with it. Jordan went there, and I went with it.
Yeah, I figured why not? We'll just push the boundaries. Yeah, I'm with you. So I'm now over 2 weeks past mine. So I'm past my second shot. So I'm in that fully vaccinated category, which does give you peace of mind. But when you have kids, it means it's still not over, right? Because when you have kids, because they don't have the vaccine, and you know, not to dive into it, but like I've always been kind of just like super, like I've been questioning, like, what is the real science? Because it seems like there's a lot of conflicting information about kids. Like kids like, oh, they're fine, we're going to send them back to school, it's no big deal. Like they don't transmit it. And then you read another article the next day that's like, oh, this new variant, kids get it worse than every other variant and they spread it easily. And it's like, okay, so what is it, right? Because as a parent, I want to be responsible. And it just seems very hard to tell what the truth is, or what it's not. I don't think people are telling untruths. I don't think that's what it is. I think we don't really know. There's a lot of people who are making comments. And Preston's in the chat and he says, didn't just get approved for 12 to 18. It didn't get approved. It's in its first phase of trials. And so for 12 to 18, and they're getting results from the first phase of trials, and it looks very successful, and it's not every vaccine. I think Pfizer and Moderna, and I don't know if Johnson & Johnson is, I do know Pfizer and Moderna both are in early trials.
I saw that there's one, and I don't know which one. I just saw the headline, but there's a number of states that are allowing 16-year-olds and up to schedule their vaccines. So that's good. So some states are doing that and get on.
That's Pfizer's range. That was the test that they did. It was 16 and up. And so I don't think you can get the Moderna one at 16, but you can get the Pfizer one at 16. None of my kids are 16. They all act like it, but yeah, they definitely aren't. And so, yeah, so like we're looking at this, like my wife got her second shot today. And so now the both of us like are on that train, and it's like, yeah, still nothing changes, right? Like we still have to be really conservative. We don't want to bring it home to our kids. Our kids can go out there and get it themselves. And while their consequences would likely be small and not consequential, that's not guaranteed.
That's right.
It's not guaranteed. And so you still have to be really careful, and it's just a mess. The whole thing is a mess. But there's hope, right? That I think is kind of what you're getting at. It's like, well, while it doesn't change anything really dramatically right now, on the horizon, there's hope. And that's cool. It's exciting. So,
So I got that going on, and let's see what else. Was Cisco live this week? No, that was last week. Oh my God. That was last week. It's gone fast.
It is. It is. Yeah, it's going really fast. So
last night I did one of the hands-on labs that I signed up for from Cisco Live. So there was a bunch of time slots. I just grabbed the 9 p.m. till midnight one. I knew I'd be awake. It was an
IPv6.
IPv6. Yeah, BGP6. That's right.
I saw
a bunch of IPv6 labs just to poke around it, have fun. Very small topologies, but it's been a long time since I've specifically done IPv6 anything, but even just like dove into a basic lab. So it was good just to sort of like sit there and go between the different tabs in the command line, and I was hammering it out, and it was fun. I had some music playing. I was jamming out here.
That's cool.
And the whole point was to earn some CE credits towards the recertification of CCIE, so I don't have to go through the full recertification process.
Why'd you bring that
up? So I also have another class this week, which will be my second one for CE credits, and then that's it. You only get CE credits for a DevNet workshop and a hands-on lab, and you're only allowed to schedule one of each as part of an all-access pass for Cisco Live this time around. So it'll just be interesting. And last night was with Harold Ritter. I don't know, and I think it changed based on the class. So I think like my DevNet class is a minimal one, right? It's not that much. I think the hands-on IPv6 is more.
When you say minimal, give me a ballpark. Are we talking 1, 2, or 3 credits? Are we talking 5 to 10 credits? Are we talking about?
No, I think 1, 2, or 3. I'm not sure. Ooh, no. No, I think 1, 2, or 3. But it's something. Hey, I'll bank anything I can. It's already paid for.
So there's that. I was really hopeful when they announced the whole continuing education program and said Cisco Live would be part of that. And then I saw what the amount of points you got for the courses. And I'm like, well, I could waste all of Cisco Live going to all of these classes that I don't necessarily want to go to, or I could actually make Cisco Live be useful and forego like 13 credits. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just make up the 13 credits. And so I didn't even look this year. I'll just be honest. I did not look. So one of the things that happens at Cisco Live, this has been this week, which is why I'm like, was it really last week? Is it's going to sound like I'm patting myself on the back, and I'm certainly not. It's not a position of privilege at all. But they have what's called the Whisper Suites, and the Whisper Suites are kind of like the NDA, like this is what's going on, and being part of a larger VAR and tightly integrated with some of their business units on some of the stuff they're doing. This is something that happens at my organization regularly, and so today was stacked full. Of those, which by the way, if it really sounds glamorous, it's not, because this year was probably the least impressive. I pretty much had all of the press releases read to me. That was super exciting. I feel very privileged. I'm really glad we went into that NDA session for that. There really was nothing that was like off the books. So it's weird extending it over multiple weeks. What was the other conference that did that? Was it AWS? I think AWS did that. Like they had their conference, but it was like over the course of like a month and a half. Like it wasn't dedicated. So it was, it's just, I don't like the virtual conferences. There was a whole conversation on that today on Twitter, and I stayed out of it because I didn't want to jump in. Joe Onisick was part of it, and he was advocating very heavily for the idea that we should just forget about in-person conferences completely and go virtual. And there's lots of compelling reasons, and he has lots of good justifications for that position. Like there's an inefficiency for bringing all of the world, or not all, but a big group of the world's networking engineers, getting them on planes, having them fly all over the world to one centralized place, spend a week, somewhat efficient, but then also there's a lot of other nonsense wrapped around it. Like there is just a ton of inefficiency wrapped up in something like a conference. And so I get it. I understand the perspective, but my experience with in-person conferences has been significantly positive. And my experience with virtual conferences so far has not. I've not been impressed with virtual conferences. I have not. And I think some of it is culture. I think that's changeable. And so in so much as that, like, you don't get the time off. So like, yeah, this last week was Cisco Live, and I had stuff booked, stuff I wanted to see, and my calendar was full of meetings. Like, my company paid for the pass, the all access pass, and they still wanted me in meetings for most of the time. Like, if I had gone, that wouldn't have been the case. Right. And so,
I don't think that was uncommon, actually. I saw a lot of that actually, like, on Twitter, which was, you get the opportunity to attend a virtual conference, but you're still on the clock. You still have to attend to your day job. And it makes it impossible to do a great job at either. Right. It's like that saying, I can be good at a few things, or I can be great at one. Yeah. You could just do one at a time. I see the perspective, I think, and I didn't see Johannesic's discussion. I didn't see it. I didn't read it, but I can see the points, I think, but it definitely depends on what you want to get out of it and what's the purpose of it. I mean, when I look back at like every physical conference that I've been to, even if they're local, even if I didn't have to travel to the West Coast, like, I'm outside of the Washington, D.C. metro area. If I went to a conference in D.C., which I have a number of times, just being there in the space makes it memorable. There's like actual emotions tied to walking around and seeing things and talking with people and recognizing people and having those discussions, being in those tracks, seeing those talks, getting the swag stickers from the tables and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you have, it's all there. When you do it virtually, you never get that, like, sort of like emotional attachment. So like, I don't have, my memories are not tied to emotions, right? And that's how you build like long lasting memories, right? They're tied in your mind to emotion. Instead, I only remember maybe like tidbits of things that I've seen through virtual conferences, because I thought like, oh, that's a neat thing, or how'd they do that? It's like the technical challenge thing, trying to figure it out, but you just don't have that many virtually. I say you, I should be speaking about myself. I just don't have that many in a virtual conference. It is really much harder for me to stay engaged at a virtual conference than it is being on site with people. Yeah. And it just kind of goes down to just being in the same space. I don't think I would have this. I haven't had the same takeaways in the virtual Cisco Lives as I have from the physical ones. Both from like technical aspect as well as, all the other positivity that goes around. Yeah, it's definitely a different beast. But and I think that's the thing, is they're not supposed to be equal. They're not the same thing. They're two different things.
They're trying to make them the same. And the argument here is that they could be made the same thing. So I think part of the conversation is even as someone who's gotten immense value out of them, I see the inefficiency. So me, as somebody who works for my company, is not just a week, right? There's the front end, there's the back end, there's the planning, and there's the, then when you're there, you're completely offline. And when, and there was the air travel, and there was the hotel, and then there's the drinks afterwards, and and all the expenses that come with it. Now, I can see the value, right? But it gets into this soft calculation of value. What's the real value? It makes me a better engineer. I work for my company. They get the value. But at the end of the day, they're paying a lot of money to have me go there. And do I really walk away with anything tangible that changes the business outcome? Like, not really. What happens is I continue to get educated. I continue to build relationships with peers that provides value when I go in to have conversations with customers, and so there's this very soft association of the values, but there's a lot of cost and a lot of lost effort. But I still haven't found something that replaces meeting people in person. There's nothing online. Like I like doing this, having this live stream with you, Tony, but it'd be a lot more fun if you were sitting on the other side of the desk. You know, like we would have.
We should do like a between two ferns.
A between two ferns. It's that really awkward. Is it Zach Galifianakis or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
No, but it would be a lot more fun, right? If we're doing this in the same space, it'd be even more fun if it wasn't just us doing it in the same space, but we were doing it with the people who were watching and listening, right? Like that would be far more enjoyable, because when we're done, what are we going to do? We're going to stop this and we're going to grab a drink, or we'll go out to grab a bite to eat and continue the conversation and continue to build relationships that continue to develop over time. And I have not seen a virtual experience that's replicated that. I see a lot of people trying, and I see a lot of people failing. So the question is it possible? And I think if you're Joe Onisick making this argument, the answer is that it is, and that we're just hanging on to the old because that's what we're familiar with. He might be right. I haven't really seen anything that's convinced me that it is. I think that there is something intangible, or at least something that may be tangible, but I can't quite put my words around it, about being in the same space with other people. And so it's been it's been a rough season for that.
What if the solution is sort of a middle point where Cisco Live is held online? Okay, well, let's take the two opposing points that we have right now. In-person Cisco Live. I mean, this is so funny because I'm actually drawing like a direct analogy to like a security model, right? When you're building network security, there are two security models. You can bring all of your traffic back to the data center where all the security tools are, or you could distribute the security right out to the edges where the traffic is. So those are our two conference models right now, which is bring everybody to the event, one location, or do it online and try to make it a live event, which would be pushing it out to the edges. Now, what if the answer is actually in the middle? What if the future of conferences is in the middle? Well, I don't know. But I don't know what the IX model is.
No, IX for Internet Exchange.
I don't know what that is, but
like where there's a meeting point for people who are regionally adjacent to each other.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm saying is like I'm outside the DC metro area. What if it wasn't the Washington DC Convention Center, which is a huge place, but what if it was what if it was at one of those hotels that has a conference room, a convention room, so everyone who wants to take part at Cisco Live gets to show up there, be 200-300 people all eating together, mingling together, got their name tags on. Hello, I'm Tony. You still have that in-person experience, and then maybe with a couple of screens, you could do that. At least you could do that in the US. I mean, there's many regions.
It would be marginally better.
I don't know if you have to do one per state.
It would be marginally better.
For the people who would be near one of those regional events, I would go to that instead of staying home. Pending, the pandemic and coronavirus. Post-COVID. You know what I mean? But if they did one in DC, if they did one in Baltimore, right, I would go to one of those. If they did one in Philly, right, which is not that close to me, it's a few hours away, I might consider just staying home. But the people in Philly and the people around Philly might say, well, hey, I'll go to the Philly one.
That should change your decision there. You would go to the Philly one because I was going to be there.
Look, if it gets me out of the house, I tell you what, if it gets me out of the house, I'll do damn near anything now.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
So,
that's funny.
But yeah, so that's what I kind of see. I kind of see the future of conferences sort of being a mix of that, right? Which is having maybe several regional ones, much smaller. There's no live music, there's none of that. But, a couple of vendor tables, people there, some food, and have people from Cisco Live. They always have those bright colored shirts and those plastered on smiles. They're happy to be there, and they help people around the conference and stuff. Makes me feel good.
They're not really happy to be there. They're just doing their job.
It makes me happy to be there. I don't care.
It makes you happy to be there. Yeah. If they're not happy to be there.
Yeah.
They're just like, I'm clocking in for my shift right now. NC meetup in Philadelphia win. Preston, man, you might be the only one in chat talking today. I don't know where everyone's at tonight. There's some people watching, but they're not chatting, and that's fine. No one has to. But Preston's in there. He's holding down the fort. He's like, I'm in. Everyone else is like,
yeah,
I'm home. So the good news, Preston, is that if no one else comes along, you're definitely going to win trivia.
If no one else comes in, that means you got to play me, and I have a 10-second advantage.
Oh, that's really not fair. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, let me see.
Should kick you out. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know what happens, but like the vMix Social, remember we were talking about one of the things? vMix Social is not connected anymore. I don't know what goes on.
Thomas is there. He says I'm just quietly lurking around. Thomas sent me trivia questions about 3 seconds before we started.
Oh, awesome. So you didn't get them in.
So they're not in this week, but that means that I've already got a head start for next week. So Thomas, thank you for that. I haven't even seen them. I'm sure they're great. I haven't even looked at them. I literally just exhausted the list that I was using. So yes, I'm absolutely wholesale ripping off other people's trivia questions, trying to find things that are related to technology, whatever. Just trying to, because I mean, I can't come up with all these on my own. Like, that's a lot. And so, I just got to the end of the list. In fact, I'd asked my wife, I'm like, can you go find, it was a busy day and I had to find it. This was last week. She's like, how can I help you? And I'm like, go find trivia that geeks would appreciate. And so she went out and she found some awesome lists, but between last week and this week, I've exhausted them. And so now I'm like, oh, what am I going to do next week now? I've got to go find some more. And here comes Thomas, riding on the white horse with trivia questions. So it was great timing.
That's awesome. And I want to give a shout out too to Preston and who else? Richard. Both donated some naked hardware images for us, so we're set for many more weeks.
Oh, that's great!
That's super awesome.
There was a DM.
So community members are coming through all around about that. I love it. That's awesome.
So there was Tyler, and he was on the stream last week, and he had sent a DM in Network Collective, and I gave him your email address. And
I didn't see one.
Okay.
Nope.
I'm sure it'll come around. He had asked. It took me a couple days to get back to him because I didn't see it in the DMs. Because so on Twitter's been this really fun thing. So we created the Twitter account, and we're not using it the way we could. I would like to use it better. But at least it's there, and the information is there, and it's a way to stay in touch with us, right? And when we first created it, it's like we're not going to follow anybody. So this was back when Network Collective was started. We're just gonna we'll follow each other essentially. And Network Collective followed like 3 people for like the first 3 years of its existence. And then it was like, that seems really stupid. Like, I don't really care about follower counts, but some people do. And there's no reason why I can't just reciprocate and hit follow. Here's the thing. You can only, they put a governor on how many people you can follow in a row and how many people you can follow in a day. So in a day, I don't know what the max is. The max might be like 250 or 500 people. And we've got over 5,000 people who follow us on Twitter. And so my thought was I was going to go back through all of them. And every time I had free time, I was going to go do this. First, I wanted to write a script, but no, the APIs are all closed down and you can't do that. And so it's like, no, I got to actually do this manually. And then I'm in there. And then if you follow too many people too quickly, it stops you as well. So it's not just the maximum for a day, but you can't just go. And if it's 250, I think that's what it is. But if it's 250, you can't do all 250. Just click, 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 click. If you do that, they think you're spamming, and they put a rate limit on you. And so you have to wait, and you have to wait like 5 minutes, and then you can go do more. You could do like 10 or 20 at a time. Let's see, how far did I make it before I just said, I'm going to have to come back to this. Let's go. Network Collective is following 1,978 people. That's how many I was dedicated to this. This, we were like in the 4,000s mark when this happened, and finally I just ran out of time, and I haven't gone back to do it. So if you DM us and we don't follow you, it kind of goes in that section that is like message requests, right? Because we have DMs open. You can DM us, and I don't care, but it doesn't show up as a notification, and it doesn't show up as like you have to go in and check those things. And it took me a couple of days. I hadn't checked my messages, and So went in there and found that there was one that was sitting in there. So Tyler, if you're watching, I'm sorry. It took me a few days. Anyone else who's watching, I'm sorry. That's the reason why. And if you feel offended by the fact that we have followed other people and not followed you, it'll happen at some point. Whenever there's free time and I'm sitting on the couch and I just click. And then once we're up to speed, then it's just following the people who follow us, which shouldn't be a problem. We're not having like 250 new people a day. Although that'd be a great problem if we did. But but yeah, it's Twitter thinks I'm spamming them, and I swear I'm not. But here we are.
That's cool. I had no idea. And in fact, every time that I hop on the Network Collective Twitter account, when you see like the who to follow recommendations, if there are people that, and anytime that it says that user follows you, I normally take the moment to follow back.
So do you know who's in?
So
I'm on it. I'm
hitting
on it right
it
now.
like 2 at a time.
I'm on it right now.
For me, I'm showing. I know who it. I can see who it's showing me right now.
Who's your one?
It
on the
says
top?
follows you and follows you. Michael Schoen.
So Michael Schoen's my number 2. Do you know who my number 1 is?
All right. My number 2 is Yuri Admenazov.
So this should make everyone feel better because my number 1 is you. Network Collective doesn't follow you, Tony.
Interesting.
I'm fixing that right now. And Michael Schoen, you win the lottery today. So I'm clicking follow as I'm sitting here right now. So you'll get a notification in just a second. Network Collective just followed you. You can celebrate.
Sweet. Oh, let me see. Will I get that notification? There it is.
There you go.
Yep, I got one.
There it is. It's your lucky day. Network Collective followed you. I wonder how many people saw, like, they followed us, like, like 3 years ago. They no longer care about the show. They haven't listened to us in a long time. And all of a sudden I follow them back. Like, it looks like a desperate plea. Please pay attention to me. Please, please, please. No. I had talking about Twitter pet peeves.
Go ahead.
There's a certain social media manager, and I won't say names because they're still active in social media. And I'll never forget this. And this is just maybe a hint if anyone's watching or listening about how not to do things. They would follow you. And then if you didn't follow back, they'd unfollow you and follow you again. So you get a notification. And this was a regular pattern. And so the idea is they really, really, really wanted me to follow them. They didn't care about following me. They wanted me to follow them to give them additional clout on the network. And they did this. And they did this as an ambassador for a major networking brand. And for some of the segments. And in fact, it's somebody that most people who are listening will know. And it really bothered me. It was very, very annoying. I've seen it happen multiple times, actually, but this one was the worst. But yeah, it was, and it was just over and over and over again. And finally it stopped. I don't know why it stopped, but I refuse to follow this person. I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. Like, just not going to do it. I don't need it. So I swear that's not what I'm doing from Network Collective. There's one follow. If you deny it, I'm done. Like, there's no more. Who was it? Kevin. No, it was not Kevin. I don't consider Kevin a brand ambassador. He does a good job representing his company. I don't consider him a brand ambassador. And as much as I like Kevin and what IP architects do, I wouldn't necessarily call them a major networking vendor. So, hey, it's Laz. Laz showed up. Hey, bud.
Oh, hey, Laz.
So Preston, you just lost your default win in trivia. Just your day just got worse, man. Yeah. So
that's good. Actually, I have a tab open here that I'm going to share when we do the tools and demo segment. I was just going to throw it in, but it was something that Laz shared this week. I think a little script he put together. I just want to share it out to give. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I got it up here right now.
There you go. I thought Laz was a manager these days.
This is not the one. It's a different one. I'll go back.
I thought Laz spent all of his days in meetings and you find it?
Yeah, I got it.
And delegating to people. What do we got?
This is a little Python script that Laz, I think he pushed out on either on Twitter or Network Collective Slack, and it is Palo Alto Network's address export. So this script exports data for the requested address group from one Palo Alto and will import it into another, which right, Palo Alto Networks has an orchestrator or an element manager called Panorama, right? So if you have multiple firewalls, you can drive it from Panorama. If you don't, then you have to manually hand jam in either at the CLI or via the Windows, the GUI.
GUI, yeah.
Actually create the address groups or address objects on both of them. So there's not a clean way to do it. And this is just a script that just kind of leverages the Pan iOS, the Pan iOS. Oh my gosh, the Pan OS.
Yeah.
Client library, and just sort of puts that together for you. So uses that to be able to talk to the Palo Alto devices, and then just grabs from the import device to the export device. Where is it? Sorry. From the input device to the export device. Again, you give it your credentials, the group that you want, and I think it's very cool. I mean, because you guys know, last year I did a huge Palo Alto migration project. I went physical to virtual, and the nature of what I was doing, I probably couldn't have used this out of the box, but it probably would have given me some pretty good footing to tee up some automation. In fact, that's what I was trying to do the entire time. And actually, I had to do the entire migration semi-manually. which was fun. Semi-manually. And what that means is right, I had to resort back to spreadsheets. But what I did is I created, and I forgot what it was called now, but I created the XML import and export statements to pull out of the old XML from the physical device, extract what I need, and then put it in for a virtual device. And why that was such a big deal, and I had a hard time actually dealing with automation with this, the physical devices were running multiple vSys. Some of them had 6, 7 vSYS, right? That's the same as maybe, it's not the same as VRFs on a router, but the same as maybe security context on an ASA maybe. So I had multiple vSYS where the VM version of Palo Alto Networks, their Pan VM, doesn't have a concept of vSys, right? If you need another vSys, you deploy another VM.
Right.
So when you take things that were nested into a vSys,
yeah,
exactly. So when you take things that were nested inside of a vSys and you need to apply them to the default vSys, things get real muddy. And so I had to sort of manually look over the device, extract the XML config, and decide what elements needed to be extracted and put into this one, and then deploy another VM and put into that one. So that's why it was semi-automated manually.
So I like this. So Laz is chiming in. He says, this is cool because it recurses through any nested groups, and it can shoot it out in JSON if you need it. It's got to be a little uncomfortable for JSON, but for you to be shooting it out into JSON.
Jason never liked it.
Jason,
he's a trooper.
but he's game, and you know he's there. And then when you need to retrieve it, Jason's right there. Just pull it right back. I'm sure that was intended to be JSON. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yep, that's his example
name
here
of Jason. But yeah.
Yeah, corp users Jason. But yeah, so this was a cool script. I saw Laz post it, and I just thought, let's give it some airtime. Let's share it out if we can. This was really cool. And if you don't need it directly, it at least gives you an awesome example and a Python script that you can then decompile and make it do something that you need. Something that's helpful to you. So awesome little tool there.
So he's calling out the ability to do nested groups. Which is always a challenge because that can be a never-ending cycle. I don't know if Palo Alto puts a limit on how far you can nest groups, but it's one of those challenges in finding what is the actual root set of rules for this thing, because you can nest ad nauseum, like just keep nesting, and then all of a sudden you're 27 layers of inception to figure out what the actual rule is. So that is cool that it recognizes that. And Laz did confirm he meant JSON. So just to be clear, there's no dude named Jason at Laz's work who has a really uncomfortable job.
You can't really see that. I should have zoomed it in, but yeah. Anyhow, go over to Laz's GitHub page. He's got some other scripts and stuff there, but that's where you can find that one.
Hey, yeah, so my GitHub page is out there.
PEREIRA1, and he's got some other repos in there.
So what's really funny is my GitHub page, which I'm not at all a programmer. Like I'm a scripter and a hack at that.
Me either.
And is out there. It's really funny that two of my scripts are doing very similar things, but just for ASA, like traditional ASA, not FTD. Because I was doing migrations and I'm like, and last I didn't hear doing it manually is pure misery. Yeah, I was doing one of them specifically. Well, two of them specifically were related to a project where I was trying to go from ASA to Meraki. And so I had an even more limited interface in what I was going to. And so I couldn't just like programmatically pull and then push it into Meraki because the way they do rules is completely different. They have no concept of an outside, inside, and DMZ. And so like it was a mess. But anyway, that's really funny because my GitHub is populated with scripts to manage firewalls because like it is an absolute pain if you're doing it by hand, for sure. Oh, security, man. Who likes that stuff?
I love it. I love it.
I know.
I love it. I can't help it. You know, I was even just thinking like, I just love firewalls, and I don't know why. It's like it's the pain. I think, you know. It's so funny because your
second shot, you might want to talk to your doctor about that.
All of a sudden, I love firewalls.
Is this a weird side effect of the vaccine? Like, what's going on here?
No, but I think it's just like absolutely fascinating that like no two firewalls are exactly the same. And they're also very different. They have their little quirks and yet we use them the same, you know, we put them in the same place in the network, we give them the same job, and they're so very different. And that's
called annoying. I like it. So my visual here is
here's why. Go ahead.
The visual here is perfect. You want to hand cultivate all of your bespoke, artisan, free range firewall features. You're gonna go out. No power tools, no modern efficiencies, no automation, none of that stuff, because we like that it's quaint. We like that it's unique. It's a perfect. You are dressed for the role today, Tony.
Listen, you know, and I will give Greg Farrar some credit. One of his favorite things that he says I absolutely love, which is like what does he call it? The artisanal CLI or the artisanal config. I absolutely love that. But I was just gonna say, well, some of the most successful moments in my career in cutovers or in migrations or anything revolve around security devices, revolve around firewalls of many different brands. And some of the most successful times in my career were those times when like you just had the answer of what needed to be done or why something wasn't working because you have the scars to prove it. You know, like someone was like, I don't get it. Why isn't this working? And it's like, no. You need to do this first, then that. Well, why does it have to be that way? Look, that's just the way it is. You know, and it's like, dude, you just saved me 2 hours. It's like, let's move on with our migration. No problem.
Wouldn't life be so much more beautiful if that little esoteric piece of knowledge wasn't required and you could apply it to something like higher level design, meeting business needs and values rather than the mechanics of the way things get done? Wouldn't life be so, I mean, like the sun would come out, there would be rainbows and unicorns. It would be beautiful. But you find value in that little esoteric piece of knowledge? Well,
I tell you what, you wouldn't appreciate standardization if we didn't have so many unique challenges out there. Right. So if we started off with every firewall's syntax and everything being exactly the same, being this little boxing cube, right, then we wouldn't have these problems to solve now.
Listen, man,
I don't know.
You don't know where happiness is. You would never know what happiness is if I didn't steal your lunch money. You would never know what happiness is if I didn't beat you up in the schoolyard. Oh man,
that's not what I'm saying. But you can't. you couldn't have predicted that every vendor would have came out with a different syntax and a different security model and a different this over the years. And that now is a good time to start like, hey, maybe you guys should all start pointing the same direction, instead of, you guys have all went your separate directions. Now we kind of see where everyone's at. Now start coming back together. We wouldn't have known that before. We wouldn't have all said, oh, another security device? Well, let me make sure you fit into this format because everyone's doing CLIs this way. Everyone's got APIs. This is how you do it.
Oh, hold on.
Everyone had to do their own thing. I've got to
address this one. So Laz asked, doesn't Meraki also not do IPv6 over VPN ? Or had that changed? Let's modify the sentence. Doesn't Meraki also not do IPv6 ? And you can cross out over VPN. Meraki has completely not even acknowledged the existence of IPv6. It doesn't exist. There's no IPv6 on Meraki gear. So it's not just over VPN. You can't assign IPv6 addresses. There's no IPv6 routing protocols. There's hardly routing protocols, but there's no IPv6. So just to be clear on that one, Laz, the answer to your question is you're correct. It does not do IPv6 over VPN or without VPN or on native networking or even on an interface, just to make sure that we're clear. Okay. Sorry.
Wow. No, yeah. I can't believe that. Meraki's, I felt like, I don't work with Meraki. It hasn't been a product in the networks that I've supported, but I felt like that's a mature device, right? That was a mature company. I feel like ignoring IPv6 is very juvenile.
You said it, not me. So let me put on the other hat. I will play the role of Meraki defender since I kind of just gave them a hard time. Meraki is very interested in making simplistic networks. They are very hesitant, cautious, however you want to put it, about adding new features to their devices. Because every new feature, every single knob you add, every single configuration component that you add adds a layer of complexity. It's one more thing that the end engineer has to know and understand how to implement to successfully get a network running. And Meraki's whole thing is that they want to make it as simple as possible. You should just be able to go in and we really don't have to be a CCIE level engineer and understand all the nuance about addressing and routing and things like that. Give it an address, get it online, and off it goes. IPv6 will be implemented when there is a major upswell of demand from their customers. So in this, Meraki is held off on implementing a feature of which there is no demand for. And in fairness, they're not wrong because Meraki is enterprise class gear. At least that's the way that they place it. It's enterprise class gear, and they are catering to the needs of enterprise networks. And there are very few enterprise networks out there who are demanding IPv6 support. So that's me in defense of them. Now, excuse me, I'm going to put on my other hat, which is the Jody Lemoyne hat. And the Jody Lemoyne hat says this. I'll start using Meraki when they do real networking. So he does consultancy, right, for small businesses, mid-sized businesses. Yep. He's out there a lot. Meraki would be an awesome fit for a lot of the things that he does, but he doesn't want to leave his customers behind. He wants them to be able to run IPv6. So he doesn't want to sell them a piece of gear that they're going to have to wait for a vendor to upgrade to run what has been a standard for a very long time and something that we all acknowledge needs to happen. And so like, he's just like, I'm not going to do it. I'd rather go with Ubiquiti or I'd go with lower end Cisco and not even that really much anymore. Just looking at what other options are available that will not leave his customers without a feature set that they're going to need in the future. And he has a completely fair point there as well. And so I think that there's competing views. As somebody who does networking, is infuriating to sit down in front of a Meraki kit and not have a feature available to you that you know isn't complicated. But they are protective right? Of keeping it as simple as possible. And they've had success in doing that. And so it's not about maturity or immaturity. It's about the way they approach networking. I'll be honest, I don't agree with the way they approach networking. I think something like IPv6 is a very fundamental thing. It's a must have. I'm not a fan of the fact that they don't have it, but I do understand, at least I can acknowledge where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing. Last says, wait, there is a lower in Cisco. Yes, there is. There's expensive. There's painfully expensive, excruciatingly expensive. Like there's tiers of Cisco. It's kind of fun. We're at almost an hour and we haven't done anything that was on the schedule. It's awesome. It's been a great chat.
I have enjoyed just having this cold beer. It's hot in the workshop. I'm clothed like an Amish guy.
Whose fault is that? Well, I guess it's somewhat mine. Because I called you out and you had to show up. It's funny.
Yeah, so we got what the hell is it? Trivia to do? We got trivia to do.
We do have
I got a cool tool.
Yeah, you want to show off?
I want to show off. So let's do trivia.
Let's do trivia.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's do
absolutely.
trivia. I'll do a cool tool.
All right, putting up trivia.
I just wish I had some hair under here.
Well, that's a whole other thing. So, all like 2 or 3 of you who are watching now, no, there's more than that, but there's only 2 or 3 of you who are chatting. Feel free to join. So this trivia is for everybody. This is the qualifying round. It's a bunch of geeky, fun trivia. There was some fun stuff in here, and there's a couple of Tony questions, which I have eye rolls for. So yeah.
I think I know the kind.
We knew Preston would be there. Preston's on the wall. So I can call people out because Laz is here. He's been chatting.
Yeah.
Where are you, Laz?
4287. I'm going to get in there and take a dive.
Oh, boy. Okay. So
I've seen Thomas in there.
Yeah,
Ray
Thomas is in there.
Susi.
Yeah, so Ray just called me out. I don't have V6 at home. I see PV6. So I am the self-respecting, or apparently not self-respecting engineer that does not have V6 at home. I would. My upstream does not provide it at all, and so I don't really see a point of deploying it all internally just to convert to V4 at my edge. And I don't really have a huge interest in doing a tunnel because there are some reasons not to. And so, I do call out my ISP regularly, and I'd have V6 in my house in about, an hour once I knew that I'd be able to run V6 natively. Whoa, there's a lot of people in there. But I'm not going to go through the hassle of running it at home and creating extra complexity just to run IPv6. I run it in my lab. Yeah, see, tunnels are the devil, so you agree.
Uncaught exception. Love it.
All right. I feel like I just got called out. Like I should just go sit in the corner now.
And I took a quick screen capture of the notification that said Network Collective is following me.
I
It
saw
said
that.
it's my lucky day. I put it out.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember Romain Jordan,
Yeah.
the guy he used to work at Riverbed, and he used to do Tech Field Day, Network Field Day with Brandon Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's out of Riverbed now, but he just replied back with a nice gift from Friends. He says, "You must know people there."
It's Joey. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I can't stop laughing.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good one.
Yeah. He's a good guy. That's funny.
He was so I specifically remember him from Network Field Day at Riverbed because out of all of the presentations throughout the 3 days, and we saw so many, it was packed. Every day was packed. Like everyone wanted to do like 2 hours of slides, and we're going to get through, a slide deck with 200 slides on it, and and it goes. So it's just like you get like overwhelmed, and like, there were some slides, to his presentation, but like he brought out a whiteboard and like a dry erase marker. I'm like, that guy knows my style. Yeah. Like, and I didn't, I don't write very lengthy blogs about Network Field Day, but I noted that and said, like, bringing it back to a whiteboard is what we want to see. Like, take note. Like any other presenting company, take note. We want to see engineers up against the whiteboard, like where we can ask questions, you guys can draw it out. That's how we communicate as engineers. We communicate through these images, through few words and mostly images, and we draw on top of it. It's not slides. Slides are for like the business people and government.
Government. I have a 90-minute presentation tomorrow that I'm doing with 2 other guys. I think we have 16 slides. 2 of them are the in slide and the out slide, which are just have our logo on it. And one of them is introductions. And I'm like, we're going to do 90 minutes and it's not going to be, and part of it is we're dropping in an image and we're going to annotate over the top, just like you would on a whiteboard in a WebEx, right? Because it's just, yeah, I'm with you. You can be definitely death by PowerPoint is a real thing. And so I also think this, okay. So man, we've just keep hitting topics, man. PowerPoint is a great tool. Having a visual, there's no problem with it. I'm not in the group of engineers who like hates PowerPoint. I think it's a very effective communication tool. If you put all of your content up on a slide, I'm not interested. Like, I want you to talk to me. I want to have a conversation. I want to feel like there's a reason, because I can read. I'm a fantastic reader and I can comprehend what's on there. And if you put all the information in there, I don't need you. Like I don't need you to filter this information for me, because I can read it and grasp it myself. Why don't you tell me with your context and your experience why the 4 bullet points that are up on your deck matter? With real stories, real examples. Tell me about when you experienced something, why that matters. Because at the end of the day, and this is another thing I like, start with why. There's so much how in this world, and people don't talk about the why, and the why is what actually makes decisions. The why is why people change their mind. The why is why people do whatever. I know I'm copying, is it Simon Sinek or whatever? He has a book that's, start with why. It has been super influential on me because like when you're trying to explain something to somebody or you're trying to convince somebody of something, the how is really widely irrelevant. If I don't understand why we're even talking about this, there's no point in discovering the how. And so I can see a well-crafted deck, and it's great. Like when someone who really knows how to present uses a deck, it's fantastic. But most people don't know how to present. And so then it just becomes this overwhelming sludge of words, and I'm just not interested. I just lose interest. Oh, okay. Vendors hating their presentations. I derail their slide deck within 10 minutes. Yeah, I usually play nice.
Can you put Laz's up there, please?
This one?
Yeah.
Roast me.
Jeez.
Hold on. He's not wrong. I don't really use Visio much anymore. I use Lucidchart a lot, which I found a lot easier to navigate. I had used OmniGraffle for a long time, which is like the Mac version of Visio. And that was pretty decent. That was a learning curve. And in PowerPoint, it's actually really easy to draw pretty decent network diagrams to get your point across. Visio has the fault of too many options, right? Like they give you all of the features, but nobody knows how to use all of the features, and no one wants to think about having to use all of the features. Yet you have to navigate all of the features, and your line won't go where you want it to go. And like, how do I make it do what it's supposed to do? How do I make it not jump there? I don't want it to jump. I want it to cross. Oh, I got to go change this property, which is hidden here, and oh, that didn't connect. And Visio's, we've all lived that pain. I don't need to do that. I've had enough rants tonight. So I'm with you, Laz. I don't go to PowerPoint first, but I still think PowerPoint's probably a bit easier of a tool than Visio. I think it's time for some music. Let's find some. You were missing music. We didn't have music at the top of the show. You didn't have my sultry ad voice talking about past solutions. I didn't, you didn't have that. Like, you need to go buy this tool right now, right? You're missing it. So, all right, we got a bunch of people who are in. Let's do it. Let's get to that screen. We're starting. Here we go.
You can clear Laz's message at the time.
There we go.
Oh.
I wonder.
I think I know what it is, but I'm gonna give one of my favorites some love. So do you guys remember Hasta La Vista? The search engine, Hasta La Vista?
Yeah. Yep. Look at that. One person got it right.
Excite. Wow. I was definitely in the camp of Yahoo.
Yeah.
I said Alta Vista, but...
All right. Moving on. Lucidity. I don't know who that is. What's a great name?
Silent Lucidity. In the 30s?
1930s. Computer. Ran on water.
I'm taking a guess. I mean, obviously I'm taking a guess. I don't know that one, but...
My wife's legit in finding trivia questions, by the way. There we go.
What's it? Soviet Union. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Preston. Uncaught exception. That's exactly what happens when you have an uncaught exception. It doesn't complete. See how many audio engineers we have.
Chris, I need you. Chris. I don't know. Wow. And there's just some good confusing options for someone who doesn't know.
That's good to know. Nobody.
Okay.
Nobody. Okay.
Okay.
Here's class time with Jordan. Audio decibel levels are a logarithmic scale. Every 10 decibels, it's a doubling. So from 20 to 30 decibels, it doubles in loudness. And then from 30 to 40, it doubles again. So 4x louder. So there you go. Now you all know. You all learned something tonight. That service is free.
Ray says, these are getting pretty hard. All right. Jordan's wife is not allowed to pick out questions anymore. We're all getting them wrong.
All right. The first cross-platform web browser. I love that meme too.
I'm trying to think. God, what did I use back in the day? It wasn't 93. Why don't you have the AOL browser on there?
That wasn't cross-platform, was it? All right. So Mosaic, nicely done. Uncaught exception. Nice. Taking the lead. And Triple Z. Zzz, I don't know what that is. Are we sleeping? Is that what that is? Is that a tell of how good our show has been so far this week?
Wow. I'm taking a guess there. You know, I've been poking around at buying domain names recently. I don't know why. Every once in a while, I'm like, I'll buy some domains. And they want like $100,000 for taken domains. But I'm like, you're just parking it. You put $100,000 price tag.
So yeah.
Who's going to pay that?
So with domains, my first domain I owned was newimagdesign.com. I did web design, or at least I thought I did. I was really not all that great at it, but that was what I did. It was fun. And it got bought out from under me. I didn't know it was renewing. My card had changed and it got bought out. And this is like over a decade ago. It got bought out for me. And my CCO username, so this is going to now start dating me, was from back in the day when you had to use your email as your CCO user ID. And so my user ID is that email address at that domain that I no longer own. And so now whenever anyone asks me for my CCO user ID, I have to give them this domain that is an email address that if they were to actually try to use, which by the way, TAC always tries to use because they see it. They just assume that that's where email needs to go to. I can't get it. And someone is parking it right now and they want a ridiculous amount of money for it. And that makes me sad. Okay. We got some guys with the right answer, or one with LasVegas.com. Two fell for the porn.com. I figured that was a good red herring.
I wonder what was, you guys remember whitehouse.com? Like
yes.
before the government took ownership of porn,
it. Yeah.
So I wonder like if there was a price in acquiring that, or was it just like eminent domain?
Sure that cost real money.
This is ours now.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
This was one of mine, and I can't remember the answer.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
Wouldn't you go slower in a jar of peanut butter?
Same. Four people got that right.
It was the meme. It was the meme that gave it away.
I've misled people with memes before. Uncaught except shot. On a streak. Look at that.
Wow, on fire.
And way ahead of everybody else. All right. The first Rickroll. I figured I had to bring out the Rickroll again because I got Tony last week with a Rickroll.
Totally did. Totally did.
Off a QR code. That was great. Somebody really knows this. There's one answer and it was almost immediately. Someone was like, I was there for that. I know exactly when that happened.
Yeah.
And I titled the quiz "Never Gonna Give You
Up." Jennifer Mann says it was the meme, I guess.
What's that?
I was reading the chat. It was the meme, I guess. With the GIF.
With the Jiffy. Yep.
Yeah, it was the meme.
It was the meme. All right, give it away.
And Ray Susi says same thing for his CCO ID. I get nothing. I mean, is it possible for me to get a null score?
We need to find a way to go negative.
Yeah, NaN, not a number.
Oh, there we go.
I got that one. There's my points.
I thought South Korea would be a one to go to on that. They're really connected, but it's Iceland of all places. Man, I don't know who Uncaught Exception is, but man, they are killing it tonight. All right. I love this one. I knew this before I found the trivia. This one I would have gotten right.
I mean, are you misleading with the memes, or do I trust the meme? Or
I don't know.
Because stealing someone's lunch is bad, but also like not maintaining a coffee pot is bad too. You take the last bit of coffee and don't refill it, you're done. Coffee pot.
It's definitely a coffee pot. You got it wrong. You followed the meme. I told you not to do that. The meme has nothing to do with the right answer. I'm just looking for funny, man. Nothing to do with right or wrong. Not trying to give hints. But the coffee pot was awesome because they were so lazy they didn't want to get up and check it from their desk, and so they could check to see if someone had brewed a new cup of coffee, and that was the first webcam that existed. It's awesome. All right, uncaught. I don't think anyone can catch uncaught exception. His name or her name, not sure who it is accurate. They're over double, and there's what? How many questions? We are on 10 to 12. All right.
Yeah, 3 left. This one. Yeah, I know that one.
It's your question.
Oh. Don't trust the meme. Don't trust the meme. Don't trust the meme. He's trying to trick you.
But that numbers aren't real?
Actually, can anyone name IP Protocol 18? I can't.
You were given hints. 2 people got it. Okay.
That's me. I'm on the board.
But not that you.
How did I get
stumped?
How did I get in 3rd place? Holy cow!
You stumped uncaught exception. His streak is
nice.
or her streak is over. Yeah. All right. Second to last question.
All right. I answered quick on that one because I think I actually got this one. I think I remember.
You have an unfair advantage. You can't win.
I know. But listen, I got like nulls on like 7 of them.
You need a little bit of ego boost, huh?
If I only get 2 here, please let it be one of these. Yes, Preston, 17 is UDP.
Look at this.
All right, I got this one. All right, let's see.
Oh, ICMP V6 on fire. I don't know.
But what is enough. But Preston, what is 18 though? That was the unknown from the trivia possibilities was 18. I don't know what 18 is. 17 is UDP.
Last one
is Mux. Who described? I think I might have. This is the last one. Yeah, I might have answered too quickly. If I end up taking 1st or 2nd place, I will. We'll default to the next person. No, but I pulled the trigger a little too fast. I normally try to give myself 15 seconds of waiting period.
Wow, almost universal.
Yeah,
nice. Ready? We ready?
Let's see what we got.
All right. Oh, look at that. Uncaught exception. Very nice
job. Here we go.
All right. And Tony, you took 3rd. Cool. So you were definitely not in the first 2.
Yeah.
Which is good. And so, hey, uncaught exception, ICMP V6. I need you to reveal yourselves. So that we can get you on. So what we want to do is we want to invite you on so that we can have you join us on the stream in real time. I think, hold on. Okay. Laz posted an entire, in the Slack, he posted an entire Amish paradise with networking. And so we might have to exit the show with you singing that or something.
Oh, I'm reading it now.
Okay, so
it's good.
I see Ray is ICMP V6. Awesome. Who is uncaught exception? Good memes. Yeah, that makes me happy when people like the memes.
Also, tell your wife, give her a very Very good. Congratulations for stumping, 6 or 7 geeks.
Yeah.
On a live stream. Well. Those were some hard ones. Yeah.
So where is that? Here it is. Okay. So I see. Oh no. So we know who Uncaught Exception is, but they're not gonna be able to stick around for the final round. So let me go back.
Oh, so who would have been in 4th place?
Yeah. Now you make me go and I have to go dig because you have to answer. You have to stroke your own ego. Okay. Let's
We can't all be perfect, Jordan.
Well, you should be. Let me see. I don't
strive for perfection. I strive for Jordan.
Oh, come on. Listen, that's not even, no, don't. That's not even fair.
All right, let me close.
So now, Tony, what I'm going to do is I have to figure out who it is right now. I have to dig through the Kahoot and actually, because I don't know how to go look at the other scores. Sample combined report. I think that's it. Whoa, hold on. From today. It should be today's, I think. Players.
Thank you, Laz.
So he says if it's early enough, he'll jump on.
If someone
How about this? Why don't we just roll right in to the final right now?
Okay.
Does that work?
If they can do it.
I can do it.
If they can do it.
So, Ray.
I got a really cool tool I want to show you guys and share with everybody. And we'll do that afterwards. It won't take too long. Yep. But definitely I got some fun short little demos to review.
Ray,
and if
Ray sent me a message. Jordan, do you need to call support? Thanks, Preston. I'm not I'm happy to admit I am not a Kahoot expert. I can make the quizzes. I can execute the quizzes. They seem to go all right. People enjoy them. But as for going back and finding the reports, no, I don't know where they go. So Ray, I don't know how we're connected. Either send a message on Twitter to Network Collective. I don't think you're in the Slack unless you're a name that I haven't associated with a real name. If you're in the Slack, hit me up. And whatever, but
email Jordan at networkcollective.com.
Jordan at networkcollective.com. Just give me a message and I'll get you info for connecting and we'll get you on as soon as we can. In the meantime, for those who are watching, what controversial topic do you want us to talk about for about 5 minutes? What buttons can we push? Just going to throw that out there.
Controversial topic.
Controversial topic. All right. NC trivia. I have
can somebody, and let me make the community members work if we can. Okay. Can anyone find a background music only version of Gangster's Paradise so that Jordan can play it while I do an Amish Network Engineers Paradise version? I
don't think I can do that, Tony. As much as I would like to, I'm trying to avoid the copyright strikes. No, the copyright strike, because the music is copyrighted too. We can't do that.
Can someone find an open source version of that?
One that's in a different key and plays one note differently in the refrain, so that it was not an exact copy of Gangster's Paradise. Because I'd really like to.
Can someone find the MIDI version of Gangster's Paradise?
the MIDI version. Yes. Well, there's I want to talk about calling back to the early days of the internet. So my very first website was not on GeoCities. It was on Tripod. I don't know if anyone remember this. Tripod was the web service.
Yep.
And it had all of the cliche stuff on it that is cliche for websites from the 90s, the late 90s. It had the under construction that was always there. Like you're constantly under construction. And and it had a brick background with the animated animated GIF, and yes, that is the correct way to pronounce it. Animated GIF. Fight me. Of the hand coming out of the brick wall. It was classic. and I had nothing to say because I was, like 13. But I certainly had that webpage forever. And I'd love to be able to go back and find that on like the Wayback Machine, but I have no idea what the URL was or how to find myself again. Now, someone else, some enterprising person is going to go out and find that website and share it with the world. Yeah, well, there's a challenge for you. I'll give a great prize. I'll give a fantastic prize to anybody who finds that website from Tripod from back in the day. Okay.
I've tried my best at looking up like my early teenager sites that I made, and there's just no luck.
No luck. All right. So Ray has sent me an email, I believe. Let me double check here. Jordan and Ray. Sorry that everyone's seeing this, but we want to get it done quickly.
And also Jennifer Mann says maybe a MIDI version. There's got to be a MIDI version out there.
MIDI.
You got to be able to get away with it that way.
Making sure that's not there. Okay, perfect. And send Ray, that email is coming to you now. So please connect as fast as you can, and I will. I'll get everyone ready. Do we get any controversial topics? I remember Tripod so bad. It really was. But I mean, I was pretty BA, or at least I thought so, because I was doing HTML by hand. Talk about artisanal crafting. I was right there.
Doing this one.
What's that?
Good. I got Gangster's Paradise playing with a synthesizer.
Oh, God.
It's so good.
Oh, what have we done? What are we doing?
We got to do that. It's called Synthesia, Gangster's Paradise by Coolio.
Are we, we're going to be violating all kinds of copyright, aren't we? I knew tonight was going to be like this. I knew it. I knew it was just going to be off the rails. All right, let's see. It looks like we've got somebody in. Let's see what we've got going on here. Where's my screens? Oh, it's just the two of us. Never mind. Oh, no, there's a third. There, see? Okay. Pulling this up. I see Ray's on, so Ray must have gotten my email. That's good. Yeah, he's waving at me. He can't talk yet because I have him on mute, but there he is. He can hear me. He can hear me in real time now, so he gets a little bit of the advantage. Let's see. And I think I got the names right there too. It's all ready.
I had sites on GeoCities and Tripod. I'm trying to think what else.
I had a site on GeoCities as well, but I didn't develop that one as much. So it really wasn't there. See, it was the Tripod.
I don't know if you remember, but it was either GeoCities or Tripod or both. They had like a 10 megabyte or 15 megabyte like storage limit.
Yeah.
And so I used to sign up for a bunch of accounts and then put files on all of them and then just build the website on one, and you could link files. So you could have like a website that had hundreds of megabytes of files.
Right. So Laz,
but I had to do it all by hand. There was no automation for me back then. It was just a lot of filling out accounts.
so here it says, actually it's parody, so you can't be copyright struck for it, fair use and all that jazz. What I read in this is that Laz is volunteering to be my lawyer in navigating the copyright infringement claims that are inevitable to happen because they don't follow logic. Yes, I agree with you, Laz. Yes, it's fair use. It absolutely is fair use. That doesn't mean I got copyright strikes on our stuff for that music that I played during trivia that I paid for. Like, yeah, so.
That's one of the things optimism. I love. And I don't mean to pick on Laz. I know you're just being funny and trying to help and stuff. But whenever there's like a claim like that on Twitter, like all of a sudden, like every hacker and nerd like becomes like an expert on copyright law. How are you people making all these suggestions? You know what I mean? Like, stay in your lane, bro. You know what I mean? The copyright lawyers got this. We don't need your expertise. You know nothing.
You know nothing. No, YouTube is the worst for this, for any hint of a violation, because it's all automated, right? There's no human component to it, right? And so they nix it, and then you have to go justify your use of it, and we've been fine, right? Because we've had licenses for everything we've used, with the exception of one thing. which is when I pulled up that movie for that time that I was in Atlanta and I woke up to automatic gunfire. And I said, hey, let's watch a clip of this. And I went, oh, yeah, this is definitely going to be a copyright strike. Well, guess what? That was definitely a copyright strike.
Arnold was coming to his door like
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm here for the money.
Yeah, was not happy with
Send me the money.
Right. I played like, I think about 45 seconds of, a movie that never even hit the theaters. But oh my word, our little show is gonna eat it up. Let's take all their cash. All right, so I think our other participant is joining here. So as soon as he joins,
controversial topic. Automation is going to take away the network engineer.
That nonsense again.
I thought IPv6 was causing COVID-19. That's what I heard.
No. It's the combination of the chemtrails, right? So the chemtrails, you breathe that in, and that gets in your system, and then the vaccine comes in, and it combines with it, and then it's the 5G after that activates all of that. So you have to. It's a combination of all of them. He says he's in.
Yeah, I heard you could only get coronavirus if you're on IPv6 network. That's what I heard.
Oh.
That's going on a meme later. I expect my account to be shut down by the morning.
So our other guest has definitely connected because he just sent me screenshots of us talking in a vMix call window, but he's definitely not in vMix, or maybe I've messed it up somehow. Let me double check to make sure. Yeah, Cam Trivia 1, 2, 3. Cam Trivia 2. Yeah, I think I'm good. So many inputs. He won't have video. The video is okay. Can you hear us? Just shoot me a message in Slack if you can hear. Yeah, I mean, he sees us. You can hear it. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so we're not going to have video, but we will have audio. So let me go ahead and bring up the window here. Hold on. No. I almost gave away the pin to the game, and I know you all. You all would have jumped into the game, and it wouldn't have worked.
That was our trivia day one, lesson one.
Yeah, it's like, why? Wait a minute. This was just supposed to be us, and then everybody was there. So let's go ahead and put the bars up, and I see both of them in the trivia. That's good, and the bar is covering the things it needs to cover. Perfect. Now, okay, I finally got my act together. We'll get the music here in a second. So Ray, welcome.
All right.
Hey,
welcome, Ray.
How's it going, guys?
All right, and is it Sajin or Sajin? I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
I've almost forgotten at this point, so either works.
Either works. Well, that makes it really easy on me. What is the preferred?
Sajin's fine, all good.
Sajin. Guys, welcome and congratulations on winning the qualifier. Yeah, that was a hard one. So you guys successfully navigated through. The next one, Thomas has questions for, so it may be a lot harder. That dude's a smart dude. I think that it could be in the weeds of networking or not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Sajin, you're looking great today, by the way. I like what you've done there with the black on the black on the black. It looks fantastic.
What's funny? So I'm on Linux, so I try to write my own Microsoft Teams background, hijack my input, and actually do a blur background, but I screwed that up. So now my camera doesn't work.
So that is the most Linux statement I've heard in a very long time. I'm on Linux, so I decided to rewrite the driver and be able to do this thing that the author never dreamed of me doing. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do with Linux, and this is the end result. This is the reason why I don't run Linux. It's not because Sajin did anything wrong. It's because this is what Linux is. And if you give me that kind of freedom, I'll investigate the exact same way. And then I end up with systems that have webcams that don't work. That's exactly what happens. Oh, it's hilarious. All right, let's get some music going.
Bad.
No, it's not that bad. It's awesome. All right, we'll get some music going.
But let's take just a little deeper dive.
Okay.
John.
Yeah.
Are you running Arch? Linux? What are you running?
If I say yes, will you? Do I sound like a dick?
Too late.
Maybe a little.
In my defense, I did not offer it up. You asked.
Oh, that's fun. Oh man. It's true.
All right.
All right,
Game
let's
on.
do it. Let's do it. Here we go. This is real short, guys. It's 5 questions. So if you make a mistake,
I'm gonna bomb so much.
you're pretty much done, right? Like there's just no recovery. No, I'm kidding. Here we go. It really is 5
Like
questions.
tailor made for me. This is going to be a crash and burn for me.
All right, here we go. I think. Maybe. Here we go. Windows ME was the best Windows. Don't at me.
I got a guess for this one, and I would just be wrong.
What would you have guessed, Tony?
I was going Red Panda because isn't that logo supposed to be like a panda or something?
Yeah, we did that in trivia.
Yeah,
everyone thinks it's a fox, but it's actually a panda. Yep.
Yes, I would have gone Red Panda.
Oh, here we go. This is Tony question.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy one. I don't even have to look at the decimal. Let me just, boom, there it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna bomb this one.
You're a
networking
jerk.
question.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Look at how close that is. 2 questions.
Wow. I don't think we've ever seen a score closer.
All right, here we go. I knew I'd get somebody with Microsoft Bob.
I thought it was going to be Bob.
It was developed for Bob, but wasn't ready when Bob was released. And so it came out first in Microsoft 3D Movie Maker. There you go.
Nice.
So you're not wrong. You were on the right track. Somehow, the Linux guy, the guy who's on here with the broken Linux driver got that question right, though. What does that
3D
say?
Movie Maker is the reason why I'm on Linux.
It was the thing that drove you
It's
over
because
the
the Linux guys always steal the Microsoft fonts to get
that what
like
it is?
readable
You're
text
saying-
on their GUIs, right?
You're saying Sajin's
This is true.
a closet Comic Sans fan? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Did I?
Oh, totally. That and Trebuchet.
a little bit of trash talk this trivia. I like it. All right, moving on. Right, you got
Point spread now.
Yeah, you got a bit of, but it's not impossible. You got 2 more questions. Let's see how it goes. I like this meme. Wow. Well done. I would have said all of them. I would have argued with the question and be like, this is not fair. But apparently it came with all those things. All right. Well, unfortunately, you both were right. You both were right quickly, which means you didn't make
Move the needle.
gap. So this is the last one. I don't remember what question this is. Here it goes. Oh, that was the end. I have to.
Boom. Got it.
There's your. Whoa! Quick answers.
See, you tripped me up on the networking questions.
Hold on. Ray, you were the one who got that right,
Yeah.
and you got that right quickly. This is a game.
Oh, jeez.
Tony, what do you think?
You think he made up the spread?
That was exactly what he needed to do. He needed Sajin to get nothing, and for him to get one quickly, and it's exactly what happened. Do you think it's enough?
Sajin's got getting
gonna be
some love
close.
from chat, at least from Kevin Myers.
What's this? Broken
Linux driver is Sajin's Reddit name.
All right, here we go.
All right, let's see. Reveal it.
Oh, so
Not bad.
So
Wow.
close, so close.
Wow.
All right. Sajin takes it. Jonathan takes it. All right.
And you both got 4. And look, you know, out of the points, you both got 4 out of 5 questions right? So first place was just a little bit faster on speed.
Speed. Excellent job, you two. Thanks so much for joining us. And
thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you again soon. All right.
Thanks for the schedule around, Jordan.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to completely adjust and just wing it completely for about 10 minutes as we got that sorted out. I'm sure everyone else loved that. That was just super compelling.
But now I think we have a new like onboarding procedure, which is go find a Windows computer before you play this game.
The rules. You have to have a webcam, you have to have a microphone, and you cannot have recently rewritten the Linux driver
when
for your webcam.
When was the last time you hacked the Linux driver for your webcam?
So, fun quick story. Netbox Day, I did a presentation, and they were using WebEx for the webinar stuff. Mm-hmm. And about 10 minutes before I was scheduled to go online, I realized that WebEx webinar did not work, even in Chrome on Linux. So I literally sprinted and grabbed a laptop from my neighbor, quickly transferred the files, and luckily the person before me was running just a little bit long, but we finally made it. But that almost didn't happen live either.
You're not only in on Linux, you don't have anything but a Linux machine in your house.
I haven't had in my possession anything Windows or Mac for that matter for maybe 10 years at this point.
Oh, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I have a VM. I have one VM that I run with enough horsepower that I RDP to if I need to get into like an old iDRAC or something that needs like an insecure version of Java.
Yeah, I've lived that pain. I know that one. Yep. Wait a minute, an insecure version of Java, wasn't that all of them? Sorry. Sorry. It's true of all software eventually. All right, guys, this was fun. Clearly, we are completely off the rails tonight, but this was enjoyable. Congrats again, and we'll see you both soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, music's off. Oh, man, that was fun.
One hell of a trivia night, I tell you what.
Yeah. Couldn't plan it any better. Let's see. I'm catching up with chat now. Let's see how many people are railing on me for things I've said in the past 20 minutes. I'm sure there's plenty. Whoa. Listen, I was joking. This sounds real.
Yeah. There's some me supporters out there.
Yeah, so mine was funny. It was meant to be funny. That sounds real. Preston, my friend, when Tony goes to get checked out for all of his random love of security and firewalls, I recommend you do the same. Just saying. Let's see what else we got. I love this. I bet he runs Arch. Linux is a constant project. Let's see. You just made a Microsoft engineer in 2001 cry tears of joy, Mystic. You might get a stalker. I love this. So that's to Preston, who said, that Windows ME was great. That's awesome. Oh, and he says it. He doubled down. He ran Windows ME quite successfully back in the day. I liked it, no lie. I will say, there are people who like Windows ME, like especially all of the hackers who could own it without the people who were running it knowing it was owned, right? So you both could cohabit successfully on that machine is awesome. Now here is where we start getting back into reality. I also liked Vista. It was very successful with it as well. Vista was a great operating system so long as you had all of the horsepower in the world, right? Because when it came out, I'm feeling really old. We talked about Tripod and GeoCities. We talked about 1930s computing. Here's another one.
Here's another one. GeoCities, Tripod,
Angelfire. Yeah, that was there. And then we're talking about the nuances of Windows ME and Windows Vista. And I just, it's quite amazing. Tony, you still with me, bud? So I don't know if if Tony froze or if I froze. So I'm going to keep talking like I'm here, and you guys can let me know in the stream if you can still hear me. Let's see. Going back through the chat. New drivers for Vista is a problem. Yeah, that was definitely true. I've tried bringing Sajin to the light side, but he remains a Sith by choice. That's funny. All right, so I've confirmed. Thank you both for confirming that it's not me who froze, because I was wondering if I was sitting here talking to myself, but it's definitely me. So I'll just pull up me, and when Tony rejoins me, I'll bring him back up on screen. Still catching up on chat here. It's great. There's a Python script for Linux to get into old iDRACs. All right. Here we go. This is great. Tony's waiting on that reply packet via Amish Pigeon. All right. So Tony was going to do a demo, and I'm not prepared to do a demo. So let me figure out where Tony is. So he's messaged me. He says his computer's hot. It's died. It's frozen. Something happened. He says it won't even shut off. He says this has to stop. So he works in his workshop. This is fantastic. He works out on the other side of the garage, and for all of the winter, it's been like super, super hot in his workshop. And so he runs his fan, and of course we have some plugins on the audio, and one of them is one that equalizes the audio so that everything comes together, so that when when I play music or the two of us are talking, it levels it out automatically. Well, he runs his fan in his background, and it's like pointed right at his mic because he's pointing it at him, and it just takes his fan and knocks it through the roof. You guys probably have heard it at some point, and yeah, so I have to take a noise suppression plugin and just throw it through the roof. Now he had his fan running tonight, and it's still too hot for his machine. I think he's running a Surface. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I guess his Surface is prone to not liking the heat, and the video really takes it over the edge. And so tonight that's what happened. It froze. How is the workshop hot in winter? That's an excellent question, Preston. I don't know. It's on the other side of his garage. I know he talks about he has to leave his house, walk through his garage to get to his workshop. And somehow I just think it's not well ventilated. Naked hardware. Oh, I have a Surface there. Oh boy. Ezekiel stopped churning so the packet stopped flowing. That's great. Wow. Apparently all of you have had this, or many of you have had this experience with the Surfaces running hot. So here's the thing, and I feel bad. Hey, Tony, are you back?
I think so.
I hear you. You're alive.
Yeah.
You're alive.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah.
Dude, that was crazy.
So if that had happened in trivia, that would have been great. If that had happened before trivia, that would have been great. Happening right before you're supposed to do a demo, not so great. But we have commiseration. I was explaining your whole situation. Everyone knows your house layout. They know about your fan and the heat and the audio we've been fighting against. No. Yeah.
So now I have the fan. I have a fan behind the Surface. It's been there the whole time during the whole stream, right, but it's been on low. So now I've upped it to medium.
So by the way, the changes we made on the noise suppression plugin working beautifully. Don't hear it at all.
Awesome.
So you can run a fan from here on out. And I'm still what I was getting to in all of this is we bought a new machine specifically for video editing.
Do this. Yeah. To support streaming and video editing. I was going
to send Tony the machine I have been using. In fact, the machine that we're using tonight to stream all of this, and I just have not had the time to transfer everything over to the new machine and get it online. I just haven't had the time to make all those changes, and we keep having problems. Apparently, I'm going to have to move this up the priority list because I don't like being left without something. We need just a random filler. This is the content we go to when the whole thing just goes off the rails.
We need like that guy from Family Guy, you know, who jumps on the piano and like play me out, you know. It's like
so Jennifer Mann has the comment of the night. You need that Soviet Union water cool.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. What it is it's running all this video and streaming and all the windows and that it takes to do this.
By all this video, it's one video. Your video connection to me.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's more than that.
Okay. Well,
but yeah, I'm ready to share. Yeah.
Is your machine going to survive a demo?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, I just put my fan on high.
Okay. Do we want to give it a minute?
I should already be sharing.
Okay, that's cool. Neil's like, what did I just tune into?
Yeah, I don't even have the chat up, so I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to roll through it.
You know what I bet works now? Zero tier. I bet you can connect perfectly fine to my computer.
Let me see. I don't have zero tier up. You know what? I'm not even messing with it right now. Forget it.
Preston says, at least you're not using the horrible Surface camera.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
All right. So we have two options, Tony. Well, first off, it is 9:50. We've been at this for 2 hours and we've done trivia, and we've talked a lot about fun stuff.
Yeah, well, I want to get into this demo. I'm very excited. I found some cool stuff.
All right, you're sharing and everything's good?
I should be good, and then I have a naked hardware after this, so we can jump right into that immediately afterwards.
All right, sounds good. Here we go.
All right, rock and roll. Okay, so the tool I wanted to present to everyone today is called CyberChef. CyberChef, I'm not even sure how to describe it. It's like the free online Swiss Army knife for data manipulation. I can't see any comments in chat, so if you have any, I hope Jordan can catch them and can relay them.
I'll relay them
over audio. So anyhow, if you want to find CyberChef,
is cool it with beer. That's the top comment right now. So we're still looking on top. Yeah.
So if you want to find CyberChef, just Google it. CyberChef is hosted at the gchq.github.io. GCHQ is our brethren across the pond over there, the intelligence agency for England or Great Britain. I don't know what the proper term is over there for their domain.
It's England, and it means you can trust them.
Yeah,
it's hosted at GCHQ, which means means you just put whatever you want in there. It's completely trustworthy.
So this was something that they developed in-house, right, and sort of has organically grown since they sort of open sourced it. And the stuff that you can do in this is just like, what I'm going to show you is the tippy tip of the iceberg. Yes, this was developed by GCHQ and hosted on their GitHub pages, but this is an open source project. You can also go ahead and clone it, host it yourself. In fact, almost every CTF that I participate in and a lot of security suites will actually have this built in. So it's locally hosted either on the local appliance or in the environment. So you don't have to actually submit data to GCHQ. I use this all the time for CTFs. I also use it just for general data manipulation. If I need to do base64 encode decode, I don't Google for base64 decode and then go to the first link. I just pull up CyberChef and put it in the link. It's one of the favorites right there.
To the spy agency.
That's right.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, so as soon as you open it up, there's a couple of panes here. This is an input pane where you can type stuff. So let's do like show IP interface brief.com. All right, domain that I have. This is your input and this is your output, right? Obviously. So what you're going to do here is you're going to build a recipe. This is called CyberChef. So everything has a theme around cooking, Tony? And all of these things. Yeah.
Can you zoom in at all? Is it possible? It's a little small on screen.
Yep. Let's do that.
That's a lot better, man. Thank you.
Yep. Rock and roll. So in here, this is your recipe, and recipe takes ingredients. You can have a simple ingredient like I want to take this input and I want to change it to base64. So I have there's a bunch of options here, and they're sort of nested like folders. So here's the high level sort of tree. You open up favorites. Favorites is just sort of the most common things that have been used. Certainly the ones that I've used most commonly. You want to go to base 64, you slide that over, and that becomes your recipe. Here becomes your output, which is very cool. But let's say you want to bring something to base 64 and then to hex, right? So now you're taking this input, converting it to base 64, then to hex, and then that becomes your output. So as you can see, these sort of recipes can be stacked, and they can become quite complex, especially when we're talking about different maybe authentication mechanisms where things are hashed, double hashed, XORed, converted to base 64 into base 64, out of base 64, whatever it may be. There's a lot of sort of different things you can do with these recipes. Anytime I need to do any sort of decoding, encoding, or data manipulation, this is where I go first because it has almost everything that I need in it. I don't have to use other tools. So I'm going to go over a couple of simple ones. I love this one, to base 64 from base 64. Those are great here. You click bake and it will bake the recipe for you. If you uncheck auto bake, it allows you to add stuff and it won't actually change the output for you until you hit the bake button, which is cool if you're kind of like, you know what you're doing or you're manipulating some options, especially if your input is very large. I have one line in here, right? And this is 16 characters? 16 characters long. But what if I put like a 2 megabyte file in here? Right, that would be something that might take a long time depending on the recipe that I have. So you don't want it auto baking because it will sort of always be in churn every time you add an ingredient over from the left to the recipe. So I would take off auto bake, build the recipe you need, then hit bake and let it do all the calculations on the back end at once if you're dealing with like a large file.
Hey, Tony,
so that brings up some, yeah.
There's a question here. Any base 32 support? And there's a hashtag Google Authenticator.
Yeah, I do believe so. In fact, you want to search for something? Let's just do base. Base 32 is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this recipe. I'm going to use my own domain that's there. I'm going to clear our, auto bake. So now I'm back to my raw input, raw output. All I did was search for base here, B-A-S-E, to base 32. I have no idea what this is going to do to my data. There you go. This is the alphabet. So when you put items in here for your recipe, it allows you to sort of change properties of the ingredient, so to speak. Again, I'm still trying to keep everything in line with the cooking theme that they have. For example, when I did when I go back to favorites and I do like 2 hex, it allows you to do a delimiter as a space. What if I want to do a delimiter as a comma? You see how it changes the output? So again, this allows you to sort of modify the properties of the ingredient to change your output to data that you can then work with, that you can visualize, that you can use differently. And so I don't know what to base 32 is, right? I know what different bases are, but I don't know if we changed different components here, what that would do for us. I guess that would do nothing. I would have to ask special symbols like this if that does anything. All right. Now I'm just screwing around. There's a lot more you can do with this. I was actually just looking around on my other monitors if I have a file. Let me see this one here. Here's a text file that I have. This is a notepad file. It has old links that I used to keep not bookmarked. I just could copy them to here. So I'm actually just going to take this file from my desktop and I'm just going to drop it in.
One of those is my tripod page, isn't it?
So now, right, I just dropped in a file. So not only can it use organic input that you would type in, you know, short messages, things like that you would copy and paste, you can also just drop files in. It's reading the MIME type of it. It's actually determining the MIME type, probably using the magic file bit, telling you how much it's loaded, the size in bytes. And then you can start doing things like, I want to encode this whole file to base 64. There it is. It's done. In fact, let me just close out that one input. So again, it can do different tabs here for different things. I'm really just going over tip of the iceberg. There's so much here, I don't know what it does, but I want to show you guys a couple of really cool things. I'm always doing base 64 encoding, decoding. I'm always doing hashing methods. So if I just type in like hash, there's tons and tons of different hashing methods that are here, and you get to mess with them a little bit. if you need to. Like I did the Cisco CTF last week, so I lived in CyberChef for a lot of the work that I was doing. Let's do something cool. Let's clear our recipe and clear our data. I'm going to do showipinterfacebrief.com again. And this was a cool one that I was just kind of like toying around with earlier. If I go down here and go to other, I think, and scroll down, I can generate a QR code. So like I can put in any input, again, mess with a couple of properties here and generate output. So this would be a QR code to take you to my website.
Tony,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Week?
Yeah, right.
I could use that last week. I could use that this week too.
How about some other things? Like if I had a QR code, I could do parse QR code, right? So I could put a QR code in the input and parse what the output is, right? So that happens a lot. Like if we're dealing with security and you don't know where that QR code is taking you or what data is contained within that QR code, drop it in here and do the parsing, right? This becomes your one-stop shop for a ton of utilities. QR code, HTML to text. I like this one. Just generate lorem ipsum for me, right? Then I go over here, copy it, off you go. You can save this output to a file. It'll actually prompt you to download sort of in all files, so you can provide any extension you want to it. Whatever it is, you can copy the data right out here. Replace input with output. So this will swap your input and output if you want to pivot and change your recipe from there. Pretty cool stuff, pretty cool. There are some other ones like this one. I don't know what number wang is. Anybody got that for me? Number wang? Sorry, that's not a number wang. Let's rotate the board. Did you know number wang was the third most common baby name for a brief period in 1722? Totally a false, let's see, that Mitchell and Webb look. Here's the reference on Wikipedia. I don't know. I can't see what's going on in chat, but if anyone knows what number wang is, you can clue me in, or I can read the Wikipedia. Here's another one, the XKCD random number. These are just some like fun, goofy things that I found in here. Every time you put in the XKCD random number, it's always 4. And when you go to the more information, this says an RFC 1149.5 specifies 4 as the standard IEEE vetted random number. And if you open up that XKCD, here you go right here. That's that one. So just a fun little Easter eggs that they hide in there. I think that are pretty cool. But let's get back into something that might be more relevant for our people. This is a networking show after all, is it not? Let's clear this out. Let's do something. Now, you guys, this is going to be awesome. This is like, I'm not a scripter or developer, and I don't code in Python very well. But this is something like I wish I could do in Python. Let's use this one. If we click over to networking and let's do parse IP range. I put that as my recipe, okay? I'm just going to start feeding it IP addresses. Let me do like 192.168.1.1. Minimum required subnet, hold this range, 32 mask. Let me do 192.168.1.2. All right, so now you see it's saying the CIDR needs to be 30. Here's the mask. Here's the subnets. Now, what if I throw a wild one out there, 192.168.1.52? Right, so now it's opening up that CIDR, giving you the subnet network ID, the subnet mask, the IP range, right, that fits within that mask. So that's pretty cool. That's a nice, easy one that networkers do all the time. There's another one in here, which is, it's called parse IP range. No, what is it? Where is it? Where is it? Group IP addresses. Oh, I love this one. Okay, you ready? Group IP addresses. So I'm just going to start feeding it random IP addresses. You can imagine if I had a list of IP addresses, discontiguous IP addresses, whether they're the single unicast addresses. I don't know if it will do little subnets or not. But discontiguous IP addresses, and you want to figure out sort of what is the subnet grouping, or what's how they all can be grouped into different subnets. As you can see here, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen. screen, you can apply the different CIDR. But if I want to do like 192.168, if I want to change that third octet, 2.22, boom, it gives me that second grouping down there. If I want to do 192.168, 2.222, it knows to put it in the right group. If I want to jump back there, 192.168, 1.123, it knows to add it to the first grouping, right? That's the one I just added. I just think that's super cool. Like, how many times have I been given a list of IPs and I just kind of like need to group them or put them in order? You can just kind of paste that in here and do it right away. I wonder what happens if we change this. Like if we change this, open this up to a 23, a 25. Okay, so it sort of regroups some of the IP addresses into their respective subnets. So that's kind of cool. Open it up a little bit. You can fit everything under a 22. I think that's kind of cool. So that's group IP addresses. Change format. You guys will recognize this one. Here, let's do this. You guys will recognize this one from trivia tonight, right? What is the hex of this one? Let's do change IP format. Give me the hex. 7F0001. Super easy, super easy. And then you could obviously do the inverse. Let's flip that. I guess we go input to hex, out to dotted decimal, maybe just decimal in general, octal. So again, this has just so many options with different things. Here's some really cool ones. Actually, we just did a podcast with Nick Russo and Darren O'Connor, and right, they were talking about the protobuf. Remember that? Jordan is reading his phone or something.
I walked away. You can't ask any questions. Yeah, absolutely. I remember that. I put myself on mute, so I don't bother you, man.
All right. Protobufs. It's part of the defining the values before the values are sent. Yep. So we just did the podcast with Darren O'Connor and Nick Russo about that. So
people should listen. So
again, if you grabbed that, if you had that piece, you could throw it in here and start to decode it. URL encode decode, right? Starts replacing those special characters with the % values. Is there an obfuscate IPS option? I believe that's just fragmentation. That's how you obfuscate. Does he mean IPs or IPS? Okay, here's one. HTTP requests. Method get, what's the URL, the headers, and then it will fetch it for you. Gosh, I don't know if I have one, but let's do a URL like HTTP show IP interface brief.com. URL. Oh, and I just want to get that. Let's see what happens. I didn't try this one. Oh, making a request to an insecure from a secure source, making cross-origin request to a server does not support by course. Okay.
Aren't you running HTTPS?
No, not on that domain, but I have it here for github.io. Okay, there you go. So there it's pulling down the HTML from my site, which is kind of cool.
So just for clarification on Laz's question, he was saying IPs. So in the question, is there a way to obfuscate IPs? And then for more clarification.
Like I feed, okay, let me go ahead and read that. Like I feed it some data and it changes the IPs in that data for sending stuff to support teams that I don't want knowing my insights. Okay. Yes, I think I got you. Yes, you can do that. I don't know if it has an ingredient or a recipe. Might be change IP format, defang IP address. Let's try this.
Wait a minute, go back to that defang. Yeah.
I am, but I'm going to give it some input though. All right, let's clear our recipe. Yep. Let me type in an IP and see what defang's going to do for us. Bake. Okay, so what this does is this, like if you were typing in a URL for somewhere that was hosting known malware and you wanted to paste that in so that link doesn't become clickable in Twitter or Slack or chat, it will go ahead and bracket the decimals, which makes it not recognized as a link or as an IP address. Defang URL would be the same thing, like malicious. Did I spell that right? Malicious.com. And then I think if we did defang URL and bake, it does that, right? It surrounds the period there with brackets. That's probably not exactly what you were looking for, but I think what you were looking for, you could do with regular expressions, and you can do that here. Again, you could just search for regex matching IP addresses. Wait, let's do IP, parse IP, change IP format, parse IP4 header. Group IP addresses, parse, defang, view bit plane, extract IP addresses. Okay, let's do that. IPv4, bake. Let me see.
You defanged it.
All right, let me get rid of these two. Bake. Okay, so what this is doing is this is taking input and it's just extracting out the IP addresses from that. Again, that's not what you want to do. I think I recognize what you're saying, Laz, and where I've done that is where, like, I'm sharing a PCAP. Let's say I have a PCAP and I need to go to a consultant, or I need to share that with a support or TAC. But my IP addresses, because I work in a military space or a government space, I can't be sharing that with everyone. I don't know who's going to be receiving it and who's going to be helping it. What I would do is I would run that PCAP through a tool called Trace Wrangler, which if you stay with us next week, I'll demo Trace Wrangler. No, week after, because next week we have a special guest coming in. Week after, I'll demo Trace Wrangler. Trace Wrangler will allow you to go through a PCAP and manipulate different fields. I say automatically, but you got to define things like, I want to change all the source and destination IP addresses, and it already populates them by default. So you just hit like go, and it will do all that and rewrite the PCAP for you. You can say, I want to change all the MAC addresses, and it'll do all that for you and save a new PCAP. Or you can do all MACs, all IPs, and the host name in the GET requests on HTTP requests. There's really a lot you can do. That tool was written by Jay Bongertz, Packet J, at Packet J on Twitter. Really awesome tool. I use it often as well. So it doesn't do it for text documents, doesn't do it for logs. I would probably just use regex for that, but it does do it for PCAPs. If you were doing it for logs or something, I would use regex for matching an IP address and then crossing over it with source is XXXX and destination is YYYY, and sending that over to your consultant or TAC or support. If that was your challenge, if I understood your challenge correctly. All right, so let's go for a couple other things here. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to go back to the networking one because I found some cool ones here. I already showed you the HTTP request one, which was just doing a get for / on my site. How about DNS over HTTPS? This is super cool. So now I'm going to choose a resolver, right? Let's use Google or Cloudflare. I'll use Google. I'm going to do an A, and let's look up showipinterfacebrief.com and bake. And this returns our output in JSON, right? There we go. This is my question, and here's the answer and the IP address where it's hosted, which of course is on GitHub. How cool is that? And the response came from, looks like an IPv6 address, probably from Google, I think. I think that's super cool. So like you can do DNS over HTTPS lookups, or at least verification here for different things. Strip HTTP headers, dechunk responses. You can also take PCAPs and drag them right here into the input file, the input pane, and start to apply parsing against them right there. So the combination of stuff is really endless. I am only at the tip of the iceberg from this. And in fact, if you're a security focused person or you just want to know more about this, I'm going to do a plug for someone that I know and respect, Chris Sanders. So if you go to, I think, chrissanders.com, chrissanders.com will get you there. He does really awesome security trainings. He's wrote a ton of books on packet analysis. And one of the trainings he has, I don't think he does it, I think he has a partner that does it, is a 1-day or 2-day hands-on lab, full lab on CyberChef, like a deep dive on CyberChef and how to use it on tons of different scenarios, from malware analysis to like log analytics and tons of stuff. More than I'll ever be able to cover here. So take a look at there. I encourage everyone to poke around. Definitely, this is one you add to your bookmark bar. All the tools we've given you so far are definitely ones to add to your bookmark bar. They will help you out. And I'd love some feedback if anyone's got any cool recipes that they use in here or not. In fact, there was one that I saw recently. I don't know if this is the right audience, the right group, but there's a thing called Yara rules. Yara rules is a way for doing sort of a if-then evaluation against data. They even have Yara rules in here if you do forensics. Detect file type, man, that's a good one. So you can throw any raw hex in here or any raw data in the input and detect file type, and it'll go ahead and tell you what kind of file that is. That's really awesome. Here's the Yara rules one. So let's clear our recipe, bake. We have only our input in there, a Yara rule. You would write your rule in here and you would put that, that will run that rule against your input. So this would be like your artifacts or your logs or your hex dump or your memory dump or your data, and it'll run rules against it, sort of doing post analysis. So that's super cool. I'm not an expert at Yara rules. I just know a little bit about them. I've done a few labs, but this is I think a new incorporation for them. So that's super cool. Extract EXIF data, right? Jordan, you're a photographer. You take astrophotography. I'm sure we got a lot of other people as well. EXIF data is some of that metadata that comes in with taking pictures. It goes on and on, guys. But again, I'd love some feedback. If you guys use CyberChef already, I want to know how you use it. If you guys develop cool recipes, I want to know what those are. Make sure you guys tag us hashtag Network Collective on Twitter if you want to post anything like that, or share them in the Network Collective Slack. I definitely want to hear about it. That's about all I got, Jordan. I love this tool. Bookmark it. And again, if you're concerned about it being hosted on GitHub by GCHQ, you can download the source code, run it locally, and all your data stays inside your organization or locally to you as well.
I personally prefer sending my data to Australia as part of the Five Eyes organization. I mean, it gets to there the same way. I feel a bit more... it's a bit more of an exclusive club in Australia that I can have all of my data extracted and looked upon and then shared back with the NSA directly. So it makes me just feel better to send it all that far. I don't know why. Anyway.
All good, man. Yeah. I don't judge. Yeah.
So GCHQ, it's cool he found that tool and all, but I'm going to stick with my Australian spy organizations.
Yeah. So this one is it's definitely not new. I don't know when it came out. I'm sure there's a Wikipedia, but almost every event I go to that's around security, any CTF, they either have this as an integration in their dashboard or a link available so you can go directly to it, or it's hosted locally within the appliance or the dashboards, and just it becomes the go-to tool. Yeah,
GCHQ wants to make it easy. I mean, they just sorry, is my cynicism showing about the spy organizations writing security tools and then sharing them?
Aren't they all
freely?
Though? Aren't they all though?
But they don't always share. When they share, it makes me nervous. What are you looking for? What are you because it's not in your charter to be helpful.
Well, it's just like there's a great one. I think it's there's called any.run. I don't know if you guys have ever messed with it. You can open a free account, and what it is, it's a malware sandbox. So if you have downloaded a questionable executable and you don't want to run it, or maybe you're analyzing it, or maybe you've extracted it from a machine or a data dump or something, you can basically just click browse, upload that file, and tell it the kind of sandbox you want, and it'll spin up a Windows 10 machine with this patch level and this on the desktop and do this, and it'll run your executable, produce all of the logs that Sysmon sees and everything, every DNS it reaches out to, every IP address, everything that it does, and provide you a nice report, even at the free level, even without paying for the service, becoming a member at the free level. It's nice. Run by Russia.
Of course it is.
Why not? Let's see what they give back to us. Let's see what they found.
yeah. Let's see. I mean, there's other smart people out there. We can steal their stuff too. All right. So Tony, it's time. Are you ready?
It's time.
Here we go. Tony, you can't go into that segment saying I'm going to get naked.
You don't know how you're going to come out of the clip what I'm going to be wearing.
You just scared everybody.
I just want to say, getting naked for an Amish person is like undoing the top button.
One button.
That's what you get to see.
One button.
All right. So here we are, Naked Hardware. This is part of the show where I get to show you a networking device without its chassis, just the raw circuits, the circuit board, the motherboard, and all the components. And you have to try and identify that board and guess what it is on Twitter for a chance to win some awesome prizes. Now, this is the part where I would normally be showing you last week's Naked Hardware and then showing you the answer of what it was. But because I didn't have one prepared last week, I don't have one to show you. So we'll dive right in. I have a Naked Hardware up on the screen, but don't show it yet. Jordan, don't show it yet.
You can't.
And I want to point out.
Trick me like that.
I want to point out that because of last week's shortage, we've had a couple of folks from the networking community donate some awesome pictures. And so this was a donation from Richard Beckwith, I think. Am I saying that right? Richard Beckwith nice. from Network Collective Slack. And so I just wanted to go ahead and put that shout out there. Thank you very much. And also Preston has given us another volume of pictures from the large collection that he has. So I'm very excited to crack into those. So we'll get those queued up for the next couple of weeks to follow. All right. So without further ado, this is this week's Naked Hardware Challenge. Take a peek.
Are you sure? Should I really hit the button this time? Here we go. You're up there, Tony.
All right. So this one's a little bit different, right? Sometimes we get a router, sometimes we get a switch, sometimes we get a firewall. This one's a little bit different. I've always asked for some different gear, and here we got it. So here's a piece, kind of a small piece, I think. Go ahead, take a look. I hope I have covered up the requisite amount of barcodes, logos, and identifying the PII related to this board. So actually, what I did, Jordan, you don't know this, maybe you do, but I queued up the Network Collective Twitter account to tweet this out at 10, thinking that we normally end the show at 10, so I don't have to do it then.
I saw it went out.
This is actually already out there.
It's been out there for a while, yeah.
Too late. Okay, well, we normally end the show right before 10, and just to get ahead of the game, I had it pre-queued up and scheduled. But this is the board that was tweeted out. So if you think you know what this is, you think you want to find out and take a guess, go ahead and reply to that tweet, hashtag Network Collective, for a chance to win some awesome gear. We got some Network Collective swag bags, and I'm very excited to get those sent out to everybody. So participate if you can, and I look forward to picking our winners next week. That's all we got, awesome. Jordan.
That's it, dude.
Absolutely.
So it's amazing to me. So we can have a complete show planned, like down to like every minute. It's going to be an hour and 45 minutes. We have about 15 minutes of flex. We end right on time. We have this show where our conversation about this show lasted what? And what would you say? Maybe 3 minutes of planning? Oh yeah, you had that demo, that thing that you were going to show the last time, but then Chris came on, so you're going to do that. We're going to do all the normal stuff, and then we'll talk about whatever. And here we are at 10:22, and this was hilarious and awesome and fun and just completely off the rails. We shouldn't plan anything. I don't know why we plan it. No, planning is good. Planning is good for like the demos, because those you need some time to put that together. But yeah, this was a blast.
And I want everyone to stick around for next week, because next week we do have something planned for you. We're going to have a special guest. If everything works out right, we got someone already committed. So there's an awesome website I want to introduce you guys to if you want to go ahead and poke around to it. tcpdump101.com. You can recognize him in our YouTube chat. If you go back and watch some old videos, he's Grave Rose there. Oh no, he's Grave Rose on Twitter. He's tcpdump101. In the YouTube chat, and we're gonna have him on, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that site and why he made it and what's running the back end. And anytime you need to figure out how to get a PCAP out of a firewall, that's the site you need to go to. So we're gonna have that demo queued up for next week.
Everyone's excited.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, everyone's clapping and yelling. I mean, I don't know what to do about it. It's awesome.
The audience is great tonight, man. I know. That's awesome.
Audience. No, chat ended up being great.
I can't see chat or anything. You know, I'm still working with like a limping computer. I don't have chat up. I don't have Slack up. I have no idea what's going on.
They're completely taking advantage of the fact that you can't see chat right now and just absolutely wrecking you in chat.
But I do have my phone. Maybe I can look it up. I was going to wrap the Amish networking paradise if someone could play the music for me.
Well,
could you play the music? I'll do it.
No, I thought we talk about this. I don't want copyright problems.
All right. I'll do it on my own.
I'm not beatboxing for you.
I'll do it on my own.
You need to read it like
a video,
like a beat poet.
Like with that one spotlight casting a shadow with the stool next to me with the thing of water. Yeah. Okay. As I walk through the valley where I forward my frames. That's all you get.
Wait a minute. What?
That's what last says. Yeah. This is it right there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But why is that all we get?
Oh, because I'm going to make a video of it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And we're going to release that on the Network Collective YouTube, right? Because of all the things we release.
I'll just put it on Twitter. They can't strike me on Twitter.
Oh, they can't strike you on Twitter. You're going to record it. Can you wear the whole Amish get up too?
Yeah, I know. That's why I have to do it like right now because when I take this off, I'm not putting it back on.
All right. We're not going to delay anymore. The world needs this video. So, all right. It's been an absolute blast. Tony, thanks so much for everyone who watched tonight. Crowd was a little late tonight, but the people who were here made it fun. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
All of you know where we're at. Just in case you don't, just go to networkcollective.com. You can find all the stuff and all the things that we do there. But thanks so much for coming on and hanging out with us tonight. It really does mean a lot, and it's what makes us fun. And I think that's it. So for those of you who are supporters, we'll see you in the Slack. If you're not a supporter, consider it. We ask for $5 a month. It's not a lot. It's even less if you do the whole year up front and come hang out with us in the Slack and you help make the show or help allow the show to continue going on. We use those donations as ways to pay for all the services we need to make this happen. So that's it, man. So with that, I think I'm gonna say goodnight, and I'm gonna let you get to your work because you have important things to do, and I don't want to get in the way of that. So, all right,
this is gonna be a old one take Tony. This is all you get.
Yeah, good, bad, or ugly. You're getting the first one. Sounds good. I can't wait. I knew tonight was going to be one of those nights. All right. Good night, Tony. Good night, everyone who's watching. We'll see you. We'll see you next time.